we told you about how this is riling a lot of the state's governors, mayors, and those who run various municipalities, thinking this decision on masks and whether they be required or not, well, that's theirs, not the governor's. The governor obviously feels differently, but it's even causing a divide within the Republican Party in the state. Frances Suarez, the Republican mayor of Miami, is among those challenging the governor on this issue. Mayor, your view is what? If you want to institute a mask mandate, which I believe you do for schools, that's your call in the Miami area, not the governor's, right?
Yeah, my view has been pretty consistent throughout this entire pandemic, which is that the local governments, local school boards, local towns should be the ones making these kinds of decisions. And to be honest, the governor supported that. At the beginning of the pandemic, he was extremely supportive. He actually came to Miami. I remember once we had a roundtable where he said to follow the local rules, to wear masks. So he was supportive of local rules. He was supportive of masking at the beginning of the pandemic. And what we're seeing is precisely what you were just saying. Our hospitalizations are up by 40%. Our percent positivity is up, by 1,000% from where it was at 4%. It's at 14% now. New hospital admissions are up by 20%. And we don't know how long this is going to last, but, local governments should have the ability to do what they need to do to protect their citizens. I have a 43-year-old, one of my best friends from high school who was in intensive care, didn't vaccinate. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is, 90 to 95% of the people, who are not vaccinated are the ones that are being hospitalized. So it is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And listen, I understand people are frustrated. They feel that their politicians are acting like doctors, that the doctors are acting like politicians. But the truth of the matter is, don't take my word for it. Talk to your local doctor. Get advice from your local doctor to get vaccinated so that you can protect yourself and your family.
Mayor, new infections are running at a fairly alarming rate in Florida right now. I believe 20,000 or more each day. What do you think has contributed to this? Because the governor's position has been telling people to mask up isn't going to change that.
Well, we've broken the record, I think, 3 or 4 times in the last week. And look, I've spoken to the governor about this before. The perspective that I have and that I've shared with him in the past, and I certainly want to be helpful to him. Is that I've demonstrated situations where when we did a mask mandate earlier, we saw a 90% drop in cases. That's 90. We went from a time where we were having 3,500 cases per day to having 350 cases per day. It was a 90% drop. And you have to understand this, Neil. We're breaking records, and we're not even testing anywhere near what we were testing before. There isn't the same testing capability. So imagine if we were testing at the levels that we were. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are getting it that are not even diagnosed. And so the good news is that if you have the vaccine, there's a 99% chance that you will not suffer severe complications. And I think those are the kinds of statistics we need to put out there. And like I said, let people talk to their local doctors. Don't take my word for it. Don't take any politician's word for it. Get advice from your local doctor who you trust to make these kinds of medical decisions.
Well, you can understand some of their frustration, right, Mayor? Especially those who've already been vaccinated and now they're being lumped in with the same treatment, that is urged for the unvaccinated. And then they wonder, well, why should I bother in an environment like this? So what do you tell them?
And let me be clear, and I just want to be clear about what our policy is in the city. In the city, as an employee, you have to wear a mask unless you're vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, I'm vaccinated, so I don't have to wear a mask. So our policy in the city is you have to wear a mask if you're an employee, unless you're vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. So I do understand people's frustration on that issue, and that's why our policy mirrors.
But Mayor, I believe that the vaccination for students and teachers and all of that would still go into effect this school year, regardless of your vaccination status, right?
Well, that's a separate issue because the school board is not controlled by the city. The school board is controlled, by the superintendent and by its own elected officials. But I think again, the superintendent is not a political person. It's someone who is named by the school board and is someone who should be making decisions based on the science and nothing else. And I think that's what we should hope for.
Got it. Mayor Frances Suarez, very good seeing you, the Republican
Good seeing you too, Neil.
of Miami.